How do you do, fellow kids? I want to tell you a story, and if this is a shared experience, I'd love to hear from you in the comment section. In the 80s, I had Kenner Star Wars action figures. Oh, don't comment yet. I lost some of them, but I kept many of them long after I stopped playing with them. I probably still have about 3/4 of them today. Sometime in the early 90s, I found out that packaged versions of these action figures were selling for sometimes $100 each. Not long after that, in 1995, I heard that Kenner was making more Star Wars action figures, but I was applying to colleges and competing in cross country, and I had no real motivation to collect more toys. But in 1997, the Star Wars was back in the cultural zeitgeist, and the cultural wisdom, or the common wisdom, was that people had to get on board and buy these toys. I mean, if only 10 years after the 1980s toys they were worth $100 each, then buying these toys, keeping them in the original package, was going to be a long-term investment. The special editions were released in that year. The prequel trilogy was on its way. There was a lot of buzz about that. And so I after work one day, I went to a local toy store, and they had a few action figures. Actually, they had multiples of a handful of I would say less desirable figures, I couldn't find Boba Fett or Darth Vader. I'm a bit of a villains guy, so those were the ones that I was looking for. I couldn't even find a normal Stormtrooper, but they did have the Tatooine Stormtrooper, and I also bought the 2-pack. It was a normal assortment, so it's not considered a 2-pack, but the Jawas came 2 to a package, which I thought was pretty cool. And I remember that first purchase. I was really excited. I took those. I took them home, and I put them on the shelf. And over the next few months, I collected a few more. I found the TIE Fighter pilot, which is one of my all-time favorites. I really think those guys look cool. I found Prince Shizor, and having read Shadows of the Empire, I thought, oh yeah, this is, he's a big bad, he's a villain, so I'll add him to my villain collection. And finally, at some point, I found Darth Vader, so I added him to the collection. And actually, many people know this, and I don't know, but by 1997, they had kind of switched from the red cards to the green cards, and I knew that the red cards were worth more. I was reading, one of the things that kind of compelled me to collect these was I started reading Wizard magazine, which is kind of a collectible, comic book and collectibles magazine. I never read Toy Fair. I felt like I got everything I needed out of Wizard magazine, but they would publish kind of sort of month by month price guides for these things, and the red card, orange card, however you want to call them, were more valuable. But I felt, hey, these green cards, they're going to be valuable too. I mean, they're only a couple of years off of the original. But it's funny because I knew that this line of action figures were called Power of the Force, and I never realized that the last line of 1980s Kenner action figures were also called Power of the Force. I thought that Power of the Force 2 denoted the green cards rather than the red cards. So that was kind of funny, and I think I only recently found out that it was Power of the Force 2 because Power of the Force was the line right after Return of the Jedi. But anyway, so I collected these figures, and one day I walked into KB Toys and I found Boba Fett. But not the Boba Fett I wanted. It wasn't the regular carded figure. I found the deluxe figure with the giant rocket-firing jetpack, and I think part of the idea behind this was that they were finally making good on the promise of the rocket firing jetpack. Although this was like a giant missile that pegs or kind of slots onto Boba Fett's back, and he's missing some of his. Well, obviously he didn't come with any accessories. He didn't come with his rifle. He doesn't have the normal jetpack that the basic carded figure came with, and he doesn't have there was like a plastic molded cape or something. So anyway, it was this now all of these figures that I purchased, I kept in the package, but I didn't keep Boba Fett in the package because it was already open. This is the only Boba Fett I ever saw in the store. It was an open Boba Fett it was kind of like, stuffed back in the package, but the bubble was already ripped off. And, it wasn't desirable, but I was like, this is the only Boba Fett I've ever seen. So I bought it and I still have it. It was actually, on my desk and, in my desk drawer at work for a while. But in late 1997 or possibly early 1998, I made probably the worst purchase of my collecting career. I found out that they were going to release the first Slave Leia figure, and I never saw it in the toy store, but I did find it at my local comic book shop for $20. And I figured, hey, this is going to be an investment. I mean, this is something they've never released before, so this is going to be rare, and I haven't seen it on the shelves. So I bought it, and It was 4 times the MSRP, but this is an investment, right? So, but I guarantee you that you can buy that figure right now on eBay for less than $20. And we all know the end of this story. These figures are generally worth about $8 to $15 mint on card, and that's the same amount of their original MSRP adjusted for inflation. Kenner, at the time, was a subsidiary of Hasbro, flooded the market, and the demand for these toys are nowhere near the demand for the vintage 1980s toys. I wish these action figures were worth $100 each, and I would sell them for a nice payday. But there's something liberating to the fact that these figures are not worth very much. I was excited about these figures at the time, and I had fun collecting them. But I've been afraid to open them. I didn't want to regret losing out on some big score. And I do have a theory that these might increase slightly in demand as the people who were kids at the time in the 1980s who had these figures and played with these figures age towards their 40s, but at the same time, I like these figures, and I, it occurred to me that I'm really excited to open them after 23 years, and I'd love to get more of them. In fact, I was listening to a podcast, and someone said that they have like a giant Tupperware tote full of them. I thought, man, that's definitely doable at the price point that they're at, and even if most people don't like them, I think they're cool. I mean, they definitely don't have the articulation of the vintage collection that you can get, that are being released today, and they don't have the nostalgia factor for the original Kenner figures. But there is something just fun about these figures, and I think they're more. I think they are unfairly maligned, and like I said, I have half a dozen of them. I might get some more, and I'm looking forward to opening them. All right, as a quick addendum, I got something in the mail today, which I'm going to open up right now, and it is. Oh wow. I am definitely not going to tell the person who sold this to me what I plan to do with it. This is that Power of the Force Boba Fett I could not find back in 1997. Every KB toy store and every Toys R Us I went into seemed to be sold out. This is carded, mint on card. Look at how beautiful, and this even has an extra bubble on it. But I want to play with my toys. I might save this protected case for something else. Man. This is a Star Case. What is this? Oh, there it is. There's the logo. Star Case. Protec. Very nice. Very nice. Protected this mint on card Star Wars figure. Let me get this guy. I have my loose Boba Fett, the one that I could find. That was the deluxe Boba Fett. He just slides right into this monstrosity. I think it's supposed to sort of resemble the Slave One. These click back here. Yeah, and then there's a release, and his guns. Look at that! Look at that! It's got a little. What is this? A Mythosaur skull? I always thought that was a Bantha skull, but I don't know if I was just wrong or if that was like a revision. Anyway, so he's got this missile firing. Yep. Yeah, I used to keep that at work and annoy my coworkers. So, yeah, let's take a look at it. This looks like I think this is a pretty early version. Let's see. This is probably like 1996. Nope, this is 97. Okay. This is when they were still doing kind of the full file card. Well, this does have a crease on it, so the card's not perfect. Makes me feel better. It's got a full card. At some point, they switched to like a larger picture with a smaller amount of text. This is probably some of the Hasbro influence. They got that from the G.I. Joe file cards. And he comes with 2 accessories. He comes with his jetpack that clips on. I wonder if it's the exact same mold as the one with the deluxe jetpack thing. And then he has a rifle that sort of looks like what he had in Return of the Jedi, except it's I don't know what gun this is. But Return of the Jedi, he did have that kind of thicker barrel, a little different. In Empire, it was thinner. This is weird. The stock just ends in a point. Anyway, so I'm going to open this up. He's got sawed-off blaster rifle and jetpack. That's what he's got going on there. He's got the cross-sell. I don't know. They seem to be cross-selling these same figures on like every figure back. So I don't know what the deal is with that. Check this guy out. So let's see. So he's got his gun, which I'd love to. I think I'm going to do a side-by-side picture of this gun and a picture from Return of the Jedi to see how accurate that is. I do want to say that there seemed to be an effort put forth by Kenner Hasbro to give the characters the weapons that screen accurate weapons or or at least a toy representation of what they felt was screen accurate. So some of the guns I think are a good match to what was on screen. I don't really think that's too good of a match. And then yeah, his jetpack slots on. Oh, that's the other thing is in doing some research about these action figures, it was specified that this version of Boba Fett is Return of the Jedi Boba Fett, and to my the biggest indicator for that is the color of the gauntlets. I think there are some slight differences. The gun's different, but like I said, this isn't super accurate, or it doesn't seem to be super accurate. I'm not looking at the picture from Return of the Jedi right now, so I'm just going from memory. But I think this looks similar. I think there was a scope. I think the scope kind of comes closer to the front of the gun, and then it did have this kind of like ridged, larger barrel. The Empire Strikes Back one is similar with a kind of a thinner barrel, and then he's got the jetpack. The jetpack's a little rubbery, but not too bad. I mean, that's consistent with the kind of the feel of the plastic. I know I got this. I know I just took this out of the package, so of course it looks minty fresh. But my version, and even though I did not take this in the backyard and play with it all the time, my deluxe version, the one that I've had out for years, I mean, I've handled this and played with it, and shot missiles at my coworkers and stuff with it. So it has been handled over the last 23 years, but it still looks really nice. I mean, compared to what my vintage Kenner action figures look like. I mean, those ones are, well, obviously this is the Stormtrooper, vintage Kenner Stormtrooper. I wasn't the original owner, but it's got the the yellowing that's very typical for those. I did get the. I'm not going to look for his background. I did get the Stormtrooper, the deluxe Stormtrooper. This is the deluxe Stormtrooper that has the backpack that pegs into his back. I did. I got that. I got this a couple of years ago, but it was already loose, and I got it from a collector's, like a, what do they have there? It's action figures and collectibles. I don't think they have comic books, but they have other collectibles, and definitely like action figures and statues and stuff. And I got it for $5. But look how well the plastic is held out. I mean, this is only 10 years. This is 10 years older than this, roughly. 10, 15 years older. It does have kind of a weird speckled paint finish, but as far as discoloration, I don't know where this was before I had it. If it was loose, I assume that some kid played with it at some point. I did want to look at this. The slots on their back are a little different. This one looks a bit thicker. But yeah, other than this, the molded piece, this molded cape, they're like the exact same figure, which I was curious about. I knew that this came off, so I wondered if it was the same. And it is actually. Yeah, that fits in too. So they could switch off and on. Might paint one of their gauntlets green so that they could be the Empire Strikes Back. There is a Power of the Force version, the Empire Strikes Back version, or whatever, that has the green gauntlets, and it comes in a 2-pack that's branded as Shadows of the Empire. So it's Boba Fett and IG-88, and that's actually the only IG-88 that came out in the Power of the Force run. There was another IG-88, and maybe even the same mold. I don't know. I would have to look at them together, which came out in the line that sort of came after Power of the Force was Power of the Jedi. So, although Power of the Force, it's, I mean, technically, I think they came out with a action figure for every character, including IG-88, because the Shadows of the Empire were part of the, it was a wave of the Power of the Force. So. It would be kind of cool to get one of these and repaint him as Din Djarin in The Mandalorian. Probably have to clip one of these off or something, because he doesn't have the antenna. Yep. So after 23 years, this guy has been in the package, and I just let him out now.